Welcome to the Pokemon Show, the show where I discuss the latest and greatest in the Pokemon community, both competitive and otherwise. My name is Matt. Let's start the show. Our main story tonight: does Nintendo wish they hadn't created Megas? Or maybe they just wish they hadn't made them so strong. There are a lot of hints that Nintendo is starting to backtrack on the idea of Mega Evolution. One of the biggest ones being that a lot of Mega Stones are not included in Sun and Moon, but perhaps the biggest one is that VGC 2017 is not going to include Mega Evolution. This could be because the game was very centralized around several very powerful Mega Evolution Pokemon, namely Mega Kangaskhan, which I believe was on like 90% of all VGC teams, at least in the championships, but also a really strong Pokemon like Mega Gengar that are just really strong. With Sun and Moon, they also introduced a lot of nerfs, nerfing Parental Bond, which is Mega Kangaskhan's ability, as well as taking Levitate away from the regular Gengar, thus nerfing Mega Gengar, and also changing Destiny Bond's ability so it's less spammable. They also even took away some of the less powerful Mega Evolutions like Salamence and Gardevoir. When I say less powerful, I don't mean they aren't powerful. They're still very, very powerful, just not as commonly used as maybe Kangaskhan or Gengar. Even Megas like Gardevoir and Salamence got hit with the nerf since Blanky 8 abilities are weakened. But on the other hand, some of the most powerful Megas like Kangaskhan and Gengar still remain obtainable in Sun and Moon. This raises the question that if they realized how powerful Mega Evolutions are, why did they leave Pokemon like that in the game and exclude Pokemon like Camerupt and Banette that even with their Mega Evolutions are still pretty weak? This could of course have something to do with the Pokedex of Sun and Moon. Maybe they had enough fire types but not enough Salamences. Personally, I'm very interested in a meta without Megas. Not that I really have anything against Megas, I guess I'm just kind of tired of seeing the same ones. My philosophy with Megas is sort of give out a ton of them or leave it alone. As you can see, when they only give out a few Megas, it can make things kind of limiting. Z-moves seem to be a step in the right direction. There are so many multitudes of them, and it's nearly impossible to tell when exactly one is going to happen, but maybe that's just because the meta hasn't settled yet. Maybe in about 6 months' time, we'll only see about 10 different Z-moves as viable, and we'll be able to tell which Pokemon is carrying them at what time. But I guess right now, we'll have to wait and see. Of course, I would love to hear your thoughts on this, so please leave a comment down below. Was Mega Evolution very centralizing in X and Y and ORAS? Will Z-moves be as centralizing as Mega Evolution? Is Game Freak ever going to dive back into Mega Evolution? And most importantly, will we ever see Mega Flygon? Now on to our next story. It finally happened. Sun and Moon was released. Praise be to Solgaleo, may your rays of light ever shine upon us. I know the main story focused a lot on competitive side of Pokemon, so I will take some time now to talk a little bit less about the competitive side and more about just the fun of Pokemon. I'm pretty deep into my copy of Sun right now, but I have yet to finish it. My starter was Rowlet. I was on the Rowlet train from the beginning. It's really awesome, and let's face it, he's just adorable. But now my team has grown much farther than just one Rowlet. And I'll tell you this right now, I am not the type of player that sticks to a strict regimen of 6 Pokemon at a time. I often rotate between 10 and 12 Pokemon at any given time throughout the game. So here's my current roster. Decidueye, the fully grown Rowlet. Lycanroc midday form. Mudsdale, the powerhouse. Salazzle. I was patient enough to find a female Salandit. It actually didn't take as long as you might think, but I did train a male up to about level 30 before I found out that it actually only evolves if it's female. Golisopod, which is probably one of my favorite Pokemon of the new generation. Crabrawler. Also found out the hard way that you can't evolve this thing until the end of the game. Both of these Crabrawler and Salazzle things are also warnings to any other players. I also have a Toucannon, which was my pick-a-peck from the beginning. Lurantis, which I'm a big fan of. I wish it was better competitively, but I love it in the game, so that's all that matters right now. And finally, Arcanine, the only non-Alolan native Pokemon on my team right now, but it's my favorite Pokemon, so I had to. Anyways, Sun and Moon might be the best Pokemon game to come out in years. I don't want to overhype it, but it really exceeded and surpassed all my expectations. They could have made another game where you leave home on day 1, take on 8 gyms of different typing, earning 8 badges that will eventually let you take on the Pokemon League, but they changed it this time. Rather than leave home on the day you move in, like in Ruby and Sapphire, which I always thought was kind of weird. Anyone else notice that? Beginning of the game, you're in a moving truck moving in, and by the end of the day, you are gone for a long time, for good almost. On your new home on Melee Island, you spend the first few nights at home with your mom, getting to know your neighbors and the new environment. Of course, starting off this way is much slower and may not be everyone's favorite way of starting off a game, but some people just want to get straight into it, and that's exactly what you can do with Ruby and Sapphire. You don't have to wait around to get the story going or get to know any of the characters. You just bounce right the heck out of there. But that's the difference with Sun and Moon. It's unlike any other mainstream Pokemon game in that you really can get fully immersed in the game and the story. Characters are unique, the story is engaging. Most importantly, you are not bogged down by the constant grind to level up and keep up with new challenges. You're also not torn from the story by whatever dumb nickname you gave your rival when his grandfather forgot his name. I'm not saying it's not enjoyable to grind up or get right into the action of the game right away, but I'm just glad they decided to try something new. I personally love a good story. I love falling into it, getting completely immersed. That's the way I like to play games. Of course, don't let my opinion influence you. What do you think of the storyline overhaul for Sun and Moon? Do you prefer to play knowing it's a video game, or do you prefer getting lost in the story? Maybe both, depending on how you're feeling. Let me know in the comment section down below. Now onto our replay of the day. Quinlanding's Soul Heart Mega Alakazam. And no, it's not hacked. This replay actually opened my eyes to how powerful a trace Pokemon could be in this meta, especially something that's already pretty strong like Mega Alakazam. With the ability Soul Heart and the similar ability Beast Boost running wild at the moment, could Trace Sweepers find some kind of niche position in the meta? Unfortunately, upon looking into it, the only viable Pokemon that get it are Mega Alakazam, Gardevoir, and Porygon 2. So it won't exactly become a craze, but perhaps these Pokemon could find a kind of a niche spot on teams for that reason. Anyway, let's get into this replay. So the opponent leaves with Tapu Koko, as Glaceon is going to come out on Quinlanding's side. Goes for the Volt Switch, which does a lot to Glaceon. And in comes the Magearna, as Glaceon's going to go for the Z Hail, get the speed boost and set up the Hail. But unfortunately, I don't think Glaceon's going to be able to touch the Magearna at all. Hidden Power not doing that much. And then Aura Sphere is going to take out the Glaceon. There's the Soul Heart. So we know that is going to get traced eventually. But in comes the Komodo. Earthquake, Magearna's just barely going to live, as the Dazzling Gleam is going to completely destroy it, especially with the +1, of course. Hail brings it down to 9, but then Leftovers heals it back up. Here's the Alakazam, there's the Mega and the Trace, there's the Soul Heart Mega Alakazam. Finishes off the Magearna with a Shadow Ball, and boom, there's a special attack boost. And suddenly, there's the threat on the field. In comes the Gengar, not going to be able to outspeed, so nope, not even the Focus Sash, so down goes the Gengar. And I think that's game. Let me speed this up a little bit. In comes the Aerodactyl. And it goes for that Mega Evolution and dies to the Psychic. So that was a speed tie, so I guess he won the speed tie there. Not sure if a Mega Alakazam would have lived the hit or not. Zygarde, that's a 10% Zygarde is going to go down. I know the picture wasn't there, but Tapu Koko comes out. Definitely not taking a hit from this, and I don't think Marowak is going to live a Shadow Ball either. Yeah. So that's the Soul Heart Mega Alakazam. Pretty crazy. As if we needed anything more powerful in this meta right now. Finally, my hat goes off to Lowland Forms again. When the Lowland Forms were first announced, I was pretty excited. I thought they would do all kinds of cool stuff and it would finally make these less viable Pokemon more viable. And then they released the stats for these Pokemon and I was kind of disappointed. Then I realized what a type change, an ability upgrade, and a brand new move pool could do for a Pokemon. The Alolan Pokemon are actually fantastic. Quick shout out to Alolan Marowak for finding its footing in the OU meta. Same to Alolan Muck and Alolan Ninetales. Shout out to a few other more niche forms, Sandslash, Golem, Raichu, Persian. Sorry Darkrai, you really needed the Arena Trap. Alolan Exeggutor will be dragging you to hell. And Raticate, I don't even know what to think about you yet. I know this is kind of a repeat, but there's a lot more information out about the Alolan forms than when I originally gave my hat off to them. And I have to say I was decently surprised by these Alolan forms. I really thought they were going to be terrible for a time, but they turned out to be pretty good. One final thing, the Diggletdreams Discord server is now up and running. All are welcome and there are several different text channels for you to check out. This may end up being a ghost town, but if there is even a little bit of community presence there, I'll be pretty happy. To join, click the link in the description down below. And that's it for today's show. Thanks for watching. Keep dreaming.